said I think there are three motivators. There's I think there's three motivators. I think it's like purpose, pain, and perspective. I think those are the three motivators, right? And I think it was Pastor Andre. I was watching the sermon, but I think the gist of it was that like pain will push you to change your circumstance, right? To be more proactive about it. Pressure, pain, pressure, perspective. I'm so sorry. Pressure was the second one. Pressure when you are put in a corner, that will also push you to change your situation. And perspective, right? Perspective. Once you have a change of perspective, you start changing your ways and start doing things different, whatever. But the point was the best catalyst for change would be perspective, right? So taking that whole concept, right? When life throws stuff at us, when the devil tries to get us, when the wicked world ultimately wrongs us in some way, shape, or form, the most important thing we can do there is not use the pain or the pressure, right? But use the perspective. Because, Pastor Andre said, the perspective is the one that once you change it, the change is actually permanent, right? Because if you realize, inner growth is permanent compared to outer growth. With outer growth, you can build your house, you can renovate it. Who knows in 2030 if ISIS is going to bomb it, right? Like, come on, think about it. You could do anything, but who guarantees it will stand there forever? Who like it's not permanent. It's not permanent. There's no guarantee that it's permanent. But inner growth is permanent. Because why? Because the scripture tells us that do not fear the ones who can only kill the flesh, but fear the one who can kill both the soul and the flesh in hell. So with that being said, your soul is what is capturing all this growth, right? Your soul is what's capturing all these things and observing and seeing this, because your soul is consistent of also your mind, your heart, your being, right? So it's who you are, basically, right? And that's why people say education is important, because education builds you who you are, which is self growth from the inside is one of the most best growths we could have, that's so permanent, that could help us in so many ways, right? That's why people value education like that, because they know that once you get educated, you've empowered yourself, and no one can take away that empowerment unless it's amnesia, of course, or any other mental whatever. But either way, the gist of it is that once you've gotten it, you cannot lose it, because it's intangible, and it's intangible value, which is crazy to think about, because generally when we think of value, we think of what can you do, what can you bring to the table. So when it's intangible, it gets to this murky water where we can't really define, understand what, but that's the things of the Lord, confuse the wisdom of the wise. But as I was saying, so when we have that change of perspective, when we have that change of inner growth, even if the circumstance can change, because remember, it's pressure, pain, and perspective. With pressure and pain, you will push, the circumstance will change, this will happen. But now, once the circumstance has changed, there's no longer pressure, there's no longer pain. What continues your drive? Then it's like you've solved this problem. Now it's not hurting you, it's not pressuring you, it's just solved. So now what's the next thing, right? How do you continue? How do you further the work of God? How do you further this? How do you continue doing this and that? That's why it's important for us, for when we get that change, It's the word he used was revelation, that not perspective, revelation. But I do not want to use revelation because some people will think of it as a different way. Sometimes words change how we view something. So when I give you a revelation, you might put it in a spiritual context. You might not understand it the way I want you to understand it, like literally. But when we put it as perspective, it becomes easier to comprehend. But either way, as I'm saying, so if the change happened in the perspective instead of through the pain or through the pressure, then that helps because now you've got this thing that has been put in you. You have this lesson you have learned that you'll carry on throughout your life, meaning that the chances of you coming back to this point are slimmer than they would if the pressure or the pain had caused you to move out the situation. Because once the pressure and the pain are gone, you can reform back to who you were. That's the thing. But now when your perspective has changed, you know better, you see better, you think better. Everything is just different now. It's not like a difference of the outside, that if the outside changes back, hey man, we're going back to our old ways. No, it's a change from the inside. It's a renewal of your spirit. It's a renewal of your soul. It's a renewal of your mind. It's just a transformation from within, right? And that's a very, very important transformation to happen. Those are the transformations we should aspire to have. When situations come and are thrown in us and we face trials, tribulations, we face this and that, everything else, that is what we should aspire to come out of that situation, and it should strengthen us. It should renew us. It should make us better. It should change our perspective. It should change us from the inside out, right? Because also we got to remember that whatever knowledge, whatever information, whatever we get blessed with, right? As Oral